UFO landing at the Ariel School in Ruwa. My name is Bill. Welcome to Night Terrors This Week. We're starting right now. Welcome to Eldergrown and Tea Plateau. If you value what I do on Night Terrors, one way to support the channel is through Patreon. Become a patron of the show by clicking on the Patreon link in the description below. Thank you for supporting the show. All right. Oh yeah, I got a better view of the plate that Tea Plateau gave me last week. YouTube is live. Thanks for the report. Welcome to Brook Birch. Let's take a look at that plate. And I will do an adjustment here, I think. First, we'll go to the plate. There we go. Oh, it's in focus. That's amazing. Yep, this is the Perth plate from Tea Plateau. I figured out how to make the little tripod. All right. Whoops, let's get rid of this. Yeah, it is nice. Rhino Rex is here. Welcome, Rhino Rex. Verpine has arrived. Welcome, Verpine. Thank you, Verpine, for subscribing with Prime. Shane Riley has arrived. Welcome, Shane. By the way, if you have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to one channel for free on Twitch, and that should be Night Terrors. All right, let's get started. Welcome to Green Tea. Two Feathers is here. Welcome, Two Feathers. And Takahama Olsen too. We have a Takahama Plateau and a Takahama Olsen too. Popular handle. Zerithian says hello as well, says Brooke. Thank you, Brooke, and thank you, Zerithian. Let's click on the page and get started. Taco rules, says Tea Plateau. Here at UFOevidence.org, welcome to David Bryce Jr. Is an article by Loy Lahan entitled The Zimbabwe School Close Encounter. Ruwa, Zimbabwe, September 16th, 1994. On the morning of September 16th, teachers and school officials at the Ariel School in Ruwa were amazed when the school students, aged approximately 5 to 12 years old, sounds like an elementary school in U.S. terms, reported that a flying object had landed on the school grounds. The teachers at the school were in a meeting, so the 62 children were basically unsupervised while in the schoolyard on morning recess. The only available adult seems to have been one of the mothers who was operating the school tuck shop, a sort of snack bar where candy, snacks, and soda is sold. According to some sources, UFOs had been seen in the skies. Well, thank you, Verpine. Looks like an excellent topic. Got it. Thank you, V. Put that in the list. UFOs had been seen in the skies over Zimbabwe for 2 years before the incident. 2 years. 2 days, try. Ruwa is about 20 kilometers from Harare, the capital. Ariel School is a private elementary school with students of mixed ethnic heritage. The children said that they had first seen 3 objects in the sky. These objects would disappear and then reappear in a different location. The objects moved closer and closer to the ground and ended up landing in a brushy area adjacent to the schoolyard. This area had not been fully cleared yet and was off limits to the students. The object landed or just hovered above the ground in an area about 100 meters from the students. I'd like to get a thank you, T Plateau. Another excellent suggestion. Welcome to Kay Lorraine. Got it, T. Olson. Thank you so much. Did I get the right thing? I got it without the name. I want to get the name in there too. Let me delete that one. Get another one. All right. A little bit of housekeeping here. Elder says, nothing interesting ever happened in any of the schools I went to. Ariel School is a private elementary school. I already said that. The objects moved closer and closer to the ground and finally landed. The object landed or hovered just above the ground in an area about 100 meters from the students. I'd like to take a look at where this place is. Ariel School. I wonder if it's still around. Let's try Google Earth on that, shall we? And here's Google Earth, I think. Yeah, there it is. Ariel School. Primary school in Zimbabwe, Ruwa, Zimbabwe. It's on Teresa Road. Here we go. From the U.S. to the primary school. We can get rid of this, right? I think. This is where it was. Can we get a look at the surrounding area here? No Google car in Zimbabwe. Wonder why that is. Let's get we only have a top-down view then, people. Where would have been the recess yard? Hard to know which one was the original. Maybe the closest to the road? There's Teresa Road, where it is listed as being on. No entrance off the other road, Gardner Road. Right here looks like the entrance then, I guess. Or is there an entrance off of here? Just like paths, it looks like. There's a path here. I don't think that would have been a road, though, into the school grounds. This looks like it might have been an old entrance right here. So interesting. What about the other side? Yeah, this looks like the only entrance. If this was the original entrance, then maybe this building right here was the original. Maybe one's a faculty building and one's the school itself. Shaped like a crucifix almost. Isn't that interesting? Maybe it is shaped like a crucifix. Maybe the rest is hidden under here. It is. Look at the corner of this building. So it's a crucifix with very long arms. Thank you, Gotcha Man. Chimerism. Gary Springer would have been confused. Thank you, Gotcha Man. A suggestion. And let's move that over here. Welcome to Synchro 505. Synchro provides all the incidental music for the show. And we're now should be showing the Perth plate. I'm not sure if anyone can see it. Let's check. Yeah, it's still in focus. That's amazing. It was out of focus the whole time before the show. Now it's flawless. Oh, I got to change back, right? Yeah, let's go back. All right, back to the story. That's the school from the air. The children said that a small man, about 1 meter in height. Thank you, Rhino Rex. We have a link. Not sure you caught it when I posted it earlier. Probably not. Ooh, that looks excellent. Thank you, Rhino Rex. Move that right here. Thank you, Verpine, for the super chat with the black cat. Very nice touch. Of course, our kitty is black. Our kitty's a tuxedo cat. Thank you, Verpine. Kay Lorraine says, I don't know exactly what the topic would be named, but I read a mini article about scientists finding a reason to believe, evidence of another reality overlapping ours. And it seems so cool. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, scientists have recently supposedly proved multi-dimensions, right? We should find out about that. Thank you, Kay Lorraine. I will save that for sure. Putting that in the list. Thank you, Kay. Kay Lorraine loves the black cat. She has 3, but she has a soft spot for him. Okay, this small man, about 1 meter in height, appeared on top of the object, said the children. The little man, who was described as having a scrawny neck, long black hair, and huge eyes, walked a short way across the ground toward the students, the unsupervised students. They were out on recess. When he noticed the children, he vanished and then reappeared at the back of the object. The object then took off and vanished. The smaller children were very frightened and cried for help. They believed that the little man was a demon who would eat them. Black African children have heard legends of Tokoloshis, demons who eat children. The children ran to the tuck shop operator, the snack shop, but she did not want to leave the shop unattended, and so she didn't go anywhere. The late Cynthia Hind. Welcome to Ed Parnell Reads. And thank you, Ed. And welcome to Shane Riley. I haven't said that before. Welcome, Shane. The late Cynthia Hind, known as Africa's foremost UFO investigator, investigated the case the next day. When first she was contacted, she asked the headmaster of the school, Colin Mackey, to have the children draw pictures of what they had seen. When she arrived at the school, he had 35 drawings for her. The drawings were of very similar objects. And there's a quote here, I swear by every hair on my head and the whole Bible that I am telling the truth. Not sure who that quote should be attributed to. Maybe Cynthia. The headmaster affirmed that he believed that the students were telling the truth. I guess that's the headmaster, Mr. Mackey. And one little girl told Cynthia Hind that the little girl, I swear by every hair on my head and the whole Bible that I'm telling the truth. Dr. John Mack, the abduction researcher, and his associate Dominique Kalamanopoulos went to Ruwa and spent 2 days interviewing and counseling 12 of the children and their parents. Those thoughts came from the man's eyes. Another quote. Who that is attributed to, they do not say. Curiously, the older students said that they felt the creatures communicated with them somehow, sending the message that we humans are destroying our planet, polluting the environment in ways that will have dire consequences. The Sightings TV show did a report on the Ariel School landing, and C-SETI has a real player video taken from the TV program with actual testimony from the children. We're now going to move to another page at ufoevidence.org, further detailing the UFO case. On a page entitled African School Children See Landed UFO and Occupant, Ariel School Sighting in Ruwa, Zimbabwe. On the 14th of September, 1994, a UFO streaked across the sky over southern Africa. 2 days later, something landed in a schoolyard in Ruwa, with 3 or 4 things beside it, according to journalist Cynthia Hine. This was witnessed by 62 school children who had little or no exposure to TV or popular press accounts of UFOs. Cynthia Hine interviewed them the day after the encounter, and they drew pictures of what they had seen. Welcome to Arch Stanton. Arch Stanton said they should have called the ice goons. They would have come after those critters. One of the children's drawings of the encounter. Here's some of the kids. This is from the special they did. They actually filmed the children, some of them being interviewed. That's one of the drawings. Here are some others. Looks like a UFO in the brush. Here, an almost football shape, with another part on top. Interesting. Here's the school at that time. What if we can figure out? This is obviously from the view of the field where the UFO landed, because they said it was in brush that had not yet been cleared, and there's no brush here that hasn't been cleared. So one would think on the opposite side of this, I wonder if those 3 tires are still there. By how many years later is this? 31 years later. The tires have probably rotted away. Don't you think we should be able to tell what the other side of this picture is from that Google Earth? Let's take a look at the picture first closely. There is a swing set, and another really smaller swing set, and like a leafless tree right here. Yeah, that does look like a swing set. It looks like there's swings hanging from it. Very small. That looks like your standard size right there. These are probably huge tractor tires. And so we have 2 smaller buildings here. They look of the same construction, but one is longer and looks like an addition on the back, unless that's another structure behind this one. So 2 or 3 similar structures here. And this looks like the crucifix-shaped building, perhaps, because it has a darker roof. The other roofs being white. Let's check out Google Earth again. Okay, here I think of those buildings. But why? Because there's no buildings on the other side of it. Oh, wait, there's buildings over here too. I think that. And that is an arch. Can we get any detail from that end of the building? It's flat all the way to the end of the roof here. It looks like this roof, and there's just a tree next to it. And this is not like that. This is the peaked part of the roof, right? Actually, the peak maybe runs through this. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it's this part. I think they were over here. This is now like some kind of tennis court or something, or a football field, perhaps. Like they've done several things. The brush was over here, I guess. Brush was, it looks like, or most of it still is, on over this side. Interesting. Yeah, let's take this down a bit. Now, here's the original, I think it's maybe a newspaper report by Cynthia Hind, here at the bottom. Yeah. There's an arrow marking the Ruwa UFO. You missed it. Oh, really? Thank you, Elder. On which one? Oh, yeah, there it is. Ruwa UFO. So I guessed, right. Wow, that's a way distant. What does this say? Ariel Primary School and the UFO here. So it's still brush. I wish we could go down to street level, but the Google car has not been here. What's it say? Click a highlighted street to enter street view. None here. You'd think at a famous place like this. So right there, where now it looks like there's a residence there. That's where the UFO landed. Interesting. I was right on the orientation in this area. Thank you, Elder. This is Cynthia Hind's original article, written or published in UFO Afro News, 1994. God rest her soul. Welcome, Ethereal Warrior. On Friday the 16th of September, at approximately 10:15 a.m., 62 children from Ariel School, a private primary school in Ruwa, it's actually an elementary school, maybe that's what they call a primary school, about 20 kilometers from the capital, Harare, were in their playing field for mid-morning break, in other words, recess. Suddenly they saw 3 silver balls in the sky over the school. These disappeared with a flash of light and then reappeared elsewhere. This happened 3 times, and then they started to move down towards the school, with one of them landing or hovering very close to the ground over a section of rough ground made up of trees, thorn bushes, and some brown-gray cut grass with bamboo shoots sticking up out of the ground. The children were not allowed in this area, although it is adjacent to their playing field and is not fenced off, because of snakes, spiders, and perhaps other harmful creatures. How does that follow? That's a non sequitur. How about, not allowed because of snakes, spiders, and perhaps other harmful creatures? One can soon disappear from view while walking here, and there is only one very rough track used by tractors in an attempt to clear the area. There's a line of electric pylons, and according to one boy, the object followed along this line prior to landing. There's also some controversy as to whether the object landed on the ground or hovered above it. On Tuesday, the 20th of September, I went out to the school with a BBC reporter and television equipment, as well as my son and Gunter Hofer, a young man who builds his own electrical equipment, that is to say, a Geiger counter, a metal detector, and a magnetometer, which he brought to try and see if the object left any traces behind. The headmaster of the school is Mr. Colin Mackey, who was most cooperative, and although he had never been involved with UFOs or never had been a believer in them, said he believed the children had seen what they said they saw. I was able to interview 10 or 12 older children and this was recorded for BBC television. Now, this is the next day. This is amazing, right? Oh, no, this is on Tuesday, the 20th. So this is not her visit of the next day, but only 4 days after the encounter. The BBC was already there with a film crew. One eyewitness, Barry D., being a child, said he had seen 3 objects flying over with flashing red lights. They disappeared and reappeared almost immediately, but somewhere else. This happened about 3 times. Then they came and landed near some gum trees. Barry said the main one was about the size of his thumbnail held at arm's length. The reports were similar, although some children were more observant than others. The consensus of opinion was that an object came down in the area where they indicated, about 100 meters from where they were at the edge of the school playing field. Then a small man, approximately 1 meter in height, that's 1 yard to anybody in the U.S., approximately, appeared on top of the object. He walked a little way across the rough ground, became aware of the children, and disappeared. He, or someone very like him, then reappeared at the back of the object. The object took off rapidly and disappeared. The little man was dressed in a tight-fitting black suit, which was shiny, according to one observant girl, 11 years of age. He had a long, scrawny neck and huge eyes like rugby balls. He had a pale face with long black hair coming below his shoulders. A little fella, says Green Tea. They were on their way to the club, says Elder. I had suggested to Mr. Mackey prior to visiting the school, and before the children had been interviewed, that he let the children draw what they had seen, and he now has about 30 to 40 drawings, some which are very clear. The children's ages vary from 5.5 to 12 years. I have 22 photocopies of the more clear drawings, as Mr. Mackey kindly allowed me to page through the pictures and choose those I wanted. Most of the descriptions are similar, but some of the craft are very obviously flying saucers. And I wonder how many of these children have had access to the media. Others are crude, but more or less in this saucer shape. The children vary in culture. They are black, white, colored, and Asian. One little girl said to me, I swear by every hair on my head and the whole Bible that I am telling the truth. I could see the pleasure on her face when I told her I believed her. The smaller children from 5 to 7 years were very frightened at the time and ran shouting, "Help me, help me." When the older children asked why they were saying this, the reply was, asked them why they were saying this. When the older children asked them why they were saying this, the reply was, "He's coming to eat us." I should think this applied more to the black African children who have legends of takaloshes, eating children. Their teachers were in a meeting at the time and did not come out. When I queried the headmaster about this, he said that the children always shouted and yelled during their playtime, and no one thought there was anything unusual going on. The only other adult available at the time was one of the mothers who was running the tuck shop, that is to say, the snack shop. When the children came to call on her, she didn't believe them and would not come out. She was not prepared to leave the tuck shop with all the food and money inside. Gunter and the men thoroughly examined the ground where the children had seen the object, but could get no reaction on the Geiger counter or any other equipment. If the object was hovering, perhaps nothing would show. I walked on my own along the electrical pylons for quite a way, caught up in thorn bushes, trampling blithely over snake holes and discarding all caution. I found no place where some object could have landed and pressed down the foliage. In fact, I should think the bamboo stumps would have been a deterrent. The day was hot, around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. Centigrade read 33. Thank you, Elder, for a suggestion from Art Stanton. I'll grab that suggestion as well. And let's get that up into the really hot selection up here. Okay. We got 2 up here and 2 down there. All right, welcome to Ohms. And we somehow slipped away to here. Oh, that's the story. Okay. We're still here. Dr. John Mack was visiting Zimbabwe at the time of the event, and he spent 2 days at Ariel with the children. He also spoke to the headmaster, Colin Mackey, the teachers, and some of the parents. John Mack and his fellow researcher, Dominique Kalamanopoulos, it is Kalamanopoulos, were able to get through to the parents and teachers and convince them that even if they did not believe the children, it was counterproductive to accuse them of lying. Pardon me. Yes, Elder performs as above and beyond as a moderator here. That's strawberry orange banana. Listen and think about what they are saying, he advised. His particular interest in child psychiatry was also of great use during the questioning, and many former hidden memories came to light, something John is sure to make public when he has a chance to reassess his interviews. There is a lot more to this incident that has been uncovered now, and we will report further in UFO After News number 12. Let's see if we can find that periodical. UFO After News number 12. I want to search for that. Start here. Search here. Here it is. Archives.library.rice.edu. Item box 42. It doesn't say. Item box 42. It says UFO After News number 12. 1995 to 1990. No, to 2007. Where's 95 then? Dates. Creator. Oh, item box 42. Well, we're not going to be able to see that, or are we? There's a page here. Series 2 continued. Let's try. There's no hot link here, but there is here, so I guess no on that one. UFO After News number 12, July 1995. Open link in new tab. Let's try this one. It's a PDF. Let's save it to the show folder. And let's call up that folder. And open it up. There it is, number 12. We get part 2. Can we do it like here? Can we do it like here? Can we close some of this stuff? This. Can we close this? Okay. Editor Cynthia Hind. Layout looks like her husband, Michael Hind. Assistant Editor Maria Sullivan. Investigators: Roland Royce, Pam Puxley, Freer Riddle, Reuben Rose, Kenny McKinnon, Roland Fritz. That's for Namibia. In Zimbabwe, Victor Forward, Elias Mutria, Trevor Thornton, Gunter Hofer, and Vera Locke. Okay, so 24 pages. Shouldn't be too hard to find, right? How do we page? Like this? Yeah. Where is the story? Ariel School continued, page 7. 7 to 14, looks like. 7. Can we do one page at a time here? Is that... Go to a specific page. Where's the display? Can we do single... Where's the... There it is. There we go. The Ariel School case developed much further when an interview with the children was made by Dr. John Mack. He spent 2 days speaking to them and was able to elicit a great deal more information. I've also found out that some of the children actually saw a cigar-like object on September the 15th, the day before the general sighting. One young boy said he was driving from school with his mother in broad daylight on the 15th, and they saw an object ahead of them. This sighting was verified by 3 little girls who were sitting in the playground on that Thursday, and observed the mysterious object, like a cigarette in the sky, very briefly, when it then disappeared. Welcome to Eli. Or is it Eli Q9HC? And welcome to Ed Parnell, if I haven't done that already. Ed Parnell says, I'm the only person on the internet who can use a search engine and actually find what I want. I should find a way to sell that. The sighting was verified by the 3 little girls as well. Had it been after the Friday event, I would have been wary of the report, as they could easily have been influenced by the big event. This report is being investigated and will be reported on in a later issue. Fiona, aged 9, said that on Friday she could see the strange object. This is the main appearance. Very bright. Over in the bush. And something dark on the object. A man standing on top. But she could not identify it as a little man, she says. It could have been something like a branch. I was impressed by the honesty of the children. When they were not sure, they were hesitant. When they were sure, they spoke out quickly and confidently. It was a cross-section of Zimbabweans, Black African children from several tribes, colored children, which is a crossbreeding of black and white, Asian children with parents born in Zimbabwe but whose grandparents had come from India, and white children, mostly born in Zimbabwe, but whose parents were either from South Africa or Britain. Next page is what? Down, right? Yeah. Thank you. There's the playground. There's the landing area. There's the school, playground, landing area. A little bit to the left of where it said on the Google map, which is interesting. The Google map had it. Wait, the Google map. This is the curve in the road. The Google map had it over here. If you guys can see my cursor dancing around here. Google map had it over here. Whereas Miss Hind, who was there the day after, has it right here. Interesting. Right up here. Interesting. Okay. Ariel School is a privately owned primary school, we might say elementary here in the States, with classes from 5 years old to 12 years old. The school is expensive, and the standard of children is of a reasonably high intellectual level. Most of the parents live in the area, but several come from Harare, the capital, and do the long drive, approximately 20 kilometers, every day. We're looking at, let me think that's like 16 miles approximately. 16, 17 miles. I'll say 16. So, a bit of a hike. Obviously, there are cultural differences. When young Guy asked Guy G must have been a teacher. When Guy G asked two little boys why they were crying, both said the little man in black was coming to eat them. Western parents no longer threaten their children with demons who come and eat you, but this is still part of the African culture, where the takalash could very well gobble up children if they were naughty. The children, that is. On the other hand, the white children were mostly, although not all, aware of UFOs. So where they drew pictures, it was often identified as a UFO, and the little men in black were labeled aliens. In drawings from other ethnic groups, the labeling was difficult. The little men were called unidentified persons, and the craft was called the machine, or the object. Farai, aged about 11, agreed with Guy's description of the object being striped with green, black, and silver. Maybe Guy is one of the older children. One of the boys told me that he thought at first that the little man in black might have been Mrs. Stevens' gardener, but then he saw the figure had long, straight black hair, not really like African hair, so he realized he'd made a mistake. Shortly after the event, certainly within 7 days, Gunter Hofer drove out to Ariel School, and using a map of the area, see drawing, took samples of the soil from several different areas. These were subsequently analyzed by the Chemistry and Soil Research Institute, Department of Research and Specialist Services, free of charge, must be a government agency, and the readings simplified for us by Dr. I'm going to guess Mac. I'm guessing Mac, but let's find out. By Dr. Keith Viewing, now retired from the University of Zimbabwe. Oh, university lab. So not directly government service. Unfortunately, though there were some anomalies, none were particularly significant, and Dr. Viewing suggested that a better and perhaps more relevant reading would be obtained from the Institute of Mining Research at the university. So this is our next step, writes Cynthia. An important issue to consider is that the children pointed out 2 landing areas. The first where the craft touched down, at the 3rd electric pole from their viewpoint, and the second landing point where the little men emerged. Need coffee. Elder says teleporting UFOs are difficult to pin down. And the second landing point where the little man emerged. I have always maintained that 1 or 2 visits to any important UFO case are not enough. It is an ongoing exercise, and although 10 months have passed since the sighting, the event is still firmly etched in the minds of the children. I am hoping to make this an ongoing exercise because of my accessibility. I realize only too well that even months or years after the event, factors of extreme significance can come to light. And surely any evidence to solve this fascinating mystery is worth its weight in gold. During the interviews with the children, several significant direct statements were made. These are quoted here. One girl said that when she first looked, she saw 3 figures, one in red, one in white, and one in black. The one in black was sitting on the spaceship. This was the first time the word spaceship had been used. She admitted that she had presumed that when she saw a UFO. Guy G said that the objects were disc-shaped and glinting along the trees. Glinting along the trees before landing. He pointed out the landing place as at the third pole from the school grounds, and the objects had come in along the electrical wires toward this area. Of the little man, Guy said, he was quite languish in color, not black. Oh, lightish. He was quite lightish in color, not black. His clothes were black. But there was no noise, and they disappeared into the valley down there, below the landing site. Welcome, Tina Tomaszewski. Tina's one of the original gangsters here at Night Terrors. Welcome, Tina. Of the little man, Guy said his clothes were black, but there was no noise, and they disappeared into the valley down there, below the landing site. Can we tell where the valley is on Google Earth? Devil or angel? That, of course, from, not mine, not my quote. It's from the Fourth Tower of Inverness. Okay, can we tell hills from here? I think we can lay it down in a plane, right? We can lay it down as a plane. How do we do that? 3D? Yeah. Can we get flatter than that? I guess that's the best we're gonna get. What does that mean? Show your location. Tilt the view 2D. That's as best as we're gonna get. They say the UFO was here. But Cynthia says it was over here. Any way to tell the age? Yeah, that would also figure from the pictures, actually. Because not only are there these identical looking huts here, there's a bunch of them over here, too. Down the hill. So supposedly this, according to the account, you really can't see if it's down. This must be flat land here. Is that a hill going down there? I wish we could get flatter. Toggle, base map settings. How do you get lower on the ground? What is this? Show historical imagery, add place mark, add polygon, add layer, measure, create contours. How about see contours? Try new sites, new. It's been my experience that it goes flatter than that usually. Am I doing the wrong? Suppose I go like this. No, that just zooms in and out. Can we tell close up if it's a drop? Down the hill. Well, there's no bump in that road there, but that might be down a hill there. Wait a minute. There is a bump in this road here. Yes, there is. This goes downhill. So I'm believing Cynthia now. This goes downhill right here. Look at that. That goes down the hill and back up again. And kind of like a ravine, or maybe it doesn't come back all the way up. Isn't that something? You really can't tell from this angle. You think, oh, Elder says it only goes flatter if you have a street view. And where can you get a street view in Zimbabwe? Let's go to 2D. Street view. Still nothing. Street view. Here we're getting somewhere. Oh, in Harare, in the capital, sure. So they went all through the capital and the main roads, looks like. But poor little Ruwa Poor little Ruwa, wherever it is. I lost it now. It says Dylan for sale. I feel sorry for Dylan. Dylan for sale. We see that. No street views available. Can't we see this thing though? Click a highlighted street to enter street view. All right, enough of that. We're at the news, right? PDF. And where'd it go? Did this slip back to page 1 or something? Oh, this is opening a different thing. We want to go here. There we go. Oh, good. More reports. Keith Viewing now retired. Relevant reading, blah, blah, blah. Landing point. An important issue to consider is that the children pointed out 2 landing areas. The first where the craft touched down, the third electric pole from their viewpoint, and the second landing point where the little man emerged. There's Guy G. There's Guy G's description of the man. His clothes were black, but there was no noise, and they disappeared into the valley down there. Oriana, I saw this black stick, very thin, a long thing on top of the silver thing. Colin Mackey, headmaster, I feel sure the children saw something. I don't believe or disbelieve, but they definitely saw something. I agree it could be something natural with which we are not familiar, but it certainly was seen by the children. Nathaniel said he saw a ship land on the ground. It had a long, elongated hull, with a platform around the side, and a small man in back was running around. He was about 1 yard tall. Luke said, I saw the little man. He had long black hair and was all in black. He looked like a shadow of something. Trevor, I was walking towards the school as the bell rang, and I saw flashes of light from the corner of my eye. And that's all he saw, I guess. Isn't that interesting? Daniel, I saw this silver thing among the trees, with one thing sitting on the side and another on top. Then they were running back and forth. It looked like a real person, but if it was quite fat. At first I thought it was someone from the compound, the laborers' quarters, playing around, but his hair was not like the usual African hair, curly and close to the head. It was almost like the hair of a hippie, long and black. Emily B. says, I saw the little man with longish black hair and big black eyes. Everywhere they mean man, they say men. It was one man. I saw the little man with longish black hair and big black eyes. They turned around and stared at me and went back into a kind of ship. There was only one ship and some little ones scattered across it. I could see their big eyes and long hair. Maybe she is describing more than one alien. Excuse me. Charity said, I saw this silver thing and a person in black alongside it. It looked like a saucer. When asked by Tim Leach of the BBC, is it Tim Leach? If she had heard of UFOs, Charity reported, what's up? Kevin Leach? Arthur Leach? I'm Tim Leach. I'm Arthur Leach. I'm Kevin Leach. I have no idea. When asked by Tim Leach of the BBC if she had heard of UFOs, Charity replied, I haven't heard of UFOs before. Two ways to turn the pages. Two different actions you have to do to turn pages in this project. Drawing from Ariel School. Note the 2 figures above the object. Also lights in several square potholes. It appears to be hovering. Pardon moi. Eldergrown. Robin Leach. Thank you, editor. Robin Leach. Homes of the rich and famous. Drawing from Ariel School. Note the two figures above the object. Really? We can see those closer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Accomplished artist. Yeah, two figures. Note the what? Note the two figures above the object. Also lights in several square portholes. Lights. Huh. Amazing. That was 4, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, couple. MSC. I saw the objects disappear. They went up about a yard and then they were gone. The little men were wearing clothes which were very, very shiny black, like a diving suit, and tight-fitting. Good eye for detail. I saw a glimpse of his face. His eyes were big. I thought they were aliens from another planet. Lisa says, I saw this silver thing lying on its side. A man dressed in black came out. He had big eyes. I thought it was an alien, and then I thought it was the gardener. Drawing from Ariel School, no facial figures, but two figures seen. Earlier that day, Mrs. Stevens, whose farm is close to the school, said that she got up to go to the bathroom in the early hours when she saw a huge orange glow from the window over her chicken house. It was like a big round ball. She had never seen anything like it before and rushed to call her husband, but when he came, it had gone. She described it as being like a big red ball. Thank you, Synchro. Gotta look for my, oh, it's over here. Okay. Earlier that day, Mrs. Stevens, whose farm is close to the school, said she got up to go to the bathroom in the early hours when she saw a huge orange glow from her window over her chicken house. It was like a big round ball. She'd never seen anything like it before and rushed to call her husband. But when he came, it had gone. All right. Oh, boy. Can't believe it. They just gave a wink. That's not good. I'll get better. Have coffee. Later at 2010 hours, that's 8:10 in the evening, for you non-military folks, it was brought to the officer's attention by the Relief Watchkeeping Officer. The Relief Watchkeeping Officer. What page is this? Oh, it goes down, up and down like that. So we were at what, like 9, right? Skipping on page 7. Yeah, we're like 7. We go down further. There's the headmaster. Daniel M., Luke N., Nathaniel. No, we read all these already. Next. MSC, I saw the objects disappear. Welcome to Scrub 47. Scrub says, lay it on me, dude. Are aliens real? Yes. Elderone says, we're 60 minutes in. Maybe the next topic will wake you up. I deserve that. I resemble that remark. Yeah, aliens are real. We've seen it. We've shown footage. We're not sure what they are yet, but we've seen photographic evidence from the government. Ether Warrior says, yeah, man, aliens are real. Cool, man. Emma says, well, we were talking about PBS shows. This got you, man. Emma says, I saw the objects disappear. They went up about a foot and then they disappeared. I read that already. Lisa says, I saw this silver thing lying on its side. A man dressed in black came out. He had big eyes. I thought it was an alien, and then I thought it was the gardener. Probably read that already. Earlier that day, Mrs. Stevens, whose farm is close to the school, said that she got up to go to the bathroom in the early hours when she saw a huge orange glow from her window over the chicken house. We read this as well. It was like a big round ball. She'd never seen anything like it before and rushed to call her husband. But when he came, it had gone. Next page, please. Finally, here we go. How does one assess a sighting like this? Oh, that's it. Were the children highly imaginative, or were they dreaming? Is the whole UFO experience a mental aberration with which we are not familiar? Were the children, as has been suggested by one friend, in a state of hysteria, as has happened recently in some girls' school in Zimbabwe? But in checking out the latter, the hysterical girls were at the age of puberty, 14 to 16 years old, and were only girls. Here, as many, if not more, boys were involved, and the ages of witnesses ranged from 7 to 12 years. And then we got an unusual occurrence at sea. That's not in the index, or the table of contents, rather. Why is that? Back, I say. No, I guess I missed it. That was 7 pages, I guess. That was an unusual occurrence at sea, right? What's going on? We didn't read 7 pages, did we? Maybe we did. We read. This is what page? To here. Is this page 14, supposedly? It just keeps zooming up and up. There we go. Where's the page number? That is 14. Unusual occurrence at sea. We probably missed some. Whoops. Next up and I lost my page that I write on. Where did it go? Is this it? No. No. It's way over here. Why did I put it over here? Oh, by the way, folks, we still have 5 diamond works of art left to give away. So if you didn't see last week's show, just check out the beginning. That's where we show all the diamond paintings. They're being given away by T Plateau, and I'm the one who's sending them out. So you want to contact me at this email address. And send me your address, and I'll ship you one of the diamond paintings, one of the diamond art paintings from T Plateau. That's down under in Australia. Don't miss out. Send me your street address at bill_madden@gmx.com. The same address is also in the description below. I hope some people can see my face on that. I practiced. Okay, it's 4 minutes past the hour. And we're going to a Suggestion next by Vasilios Bakagias, submitted to me earlier in the week. And that is, we're keeping this PDF, definitely. Definitely. My show folders are a good resource. Ed Parnell Reed says, in case I forget, Bill, I wish you the best for the season and next year. Likewise, my friend. My best friend in high school was named Ed. Ought to look him up. All right, next up. This we don't need anymore. What we need is this. And the suggestion from Vasilios is try that again. There it is. Ooh. The King in Yellow, written by Robert W. Chambers, has been purported to drive its readers to the realm of madness. Let's find it. The King in Yellow, and it's available for only $15. You can go mad. Book, The King in Yellow. 2025 reading challenge begins. The King in Yellow. We want to see we want to get the scuttlebutt on it. Summary of. That's the effect of The King in Yellow. The King in Yellow. Let's say, drives its readers to madness. I search on that. All we're getting is the book so far, was the reason I do that. Why you should read The King in Yellow. Why you should not read The King in Yellow. Test. Why you should not read Why is The King in Yellow banned? Here we go. In gameslearningsociety.org, we may find the truth. Why is The King in Yellow banned? Let's read it out loud. It's also worth noting at this time in our history, many books were banned for similar reasons, although The King in Yellow seems to have garnered a more notorious reputation, presumably because of the terrible imagery of the second act, but potentially because other stories connect the play to outbreaks of ... Why is there a ... Table of contents. What happens if you read The King in Yellow? Oh, here it is. The King in Yellow has many stories that center on a made-up play, The King in Yellow, that carries a horrible curse. All who read the play go insane. In such stories as The Yellow Sign and the Repairer of Reputations, the Rapier, characters can't help themselves from reading the play, and tragedy ensues. Is The King in Yellow book banned? The King in Yellow is a play, fragments of which are strewn throughout the stories. It is referred to as the supreme work of art. However, it has been banned in several countries, whether because of obscenity or subversiveness is unclear. Is The King in Yellow disturbing? It should be right below. The book contains 9 short stories and a sequence of poems. While the first stories belong to the genres of supernatural horror and weird fiction, The King in Yellow progressively transitions toward a more lighthearted tone, ending with romantic stories devoid of horror or supernatural elements. Is it actually cursed? Well, if it contained any literature, it would definitely include the fictitious play The King in Yellow by Robert Chambers. The play is reputed to be cursed. Act 1 lures readers in, and anyone who reads Act 2 will go insane. Can a book send you mad? For that answer, they only give a video. Is the King in Yellow worth it? Who is the demon? Pastor, the unspeakable one. Him who is not to be named, Asatur. Castor, Pastor, is an entity of the Cthulhu mythos. Let's get another source. Why you should read. Why people are so freaked out by him. Let's look at that. Here at that previous one we said that. And this one at trending.knowyourmeme.com. And a story entitled, Who's the King in Yellow and Why Are People... How do we get rid of this? There's an X. Thank you. And why are people so freaked out by him? The Minecraft ARG inspiring memes and fan art explained. First published in 1895 as a slim anthology of short stories that hid a truly cursed play within its pages. That play features a horrific yellow sign, quote unquote. The blasted city of Carcosa, and an entity known only as the Stranger, who comes together to infect other characters with forbidden knowledge that breaks their minds. The book was published well over 100 years ago. Let's say exactly 130 years ago. But it has found new life in a surprising media form called Minecraft ARG. It's where people tell a tale entirely through a Minecraft world they created, like in YouTuber Wifey's wildly popular video, Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist. And here's another version of that video we don't want to look at, an advertisement of some kind. I hope we are also muted here. We are. What's the origin of the story? Robert Chambers published the Weird Horror short story collection in 1895. It's the fictitious play about the King in Yellow that runs across the first few spooky tales that most people remember the book by. The eerie atmosphere of the book and its cosmic horror. Gotchaman has a personal conspiracy theory. Peter Thiel is running from Roko's basilisk. Roko's basilisk, not Roku. Roko. Roko's basilisk. I'm going to grab that for a further suggestion, Gotchaman. Thank you. Roko's basilisk, that is. All right. The eerie atmosphere and its cosmic horror is known to have inspired legendary horror writers like H.P. Lovecraft and his tales about Cthulhu, as well as more modern adaptations. Most notably, The King in Yellow and Carcosa were evoked in HBO's True Detective season. Season 1. To signal decay, moral collapse, and the fear of the unknown. I remember that first season of True Detective. I've seen the first 3 seasons of the serial, I believe. T. Plateau says, I'm surprised Studio Ghibli have not made an anime of The King in Yellow, but don't panic, they may well do so soon. Ethereal Warrior remembers this as one of the books banned by the time they got to high school. YouTuber Wifeys took inspiration from the previous video and launched a sprawling 40-minute ARG-style video called Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist. Guess I don't know if that's related to this or not. The author does not seem to make it clear. Weird book I did from the previous video. Yeah, it's about that video, I guess, not about the King in Yellow. Are they going to circle back to the King in Yellow? Doesn't look like it. But this meme says, I love the King in Yellow and media that references it, but I would never, ever, ever finish the novel. What are some more memes and posts about the King in Yellow? For the full history, be sure to check Know Your Memes Encyclopedia. There must be one more source. Why should one not read The King in Yellow? Reviews with content warning for racism. That could be another reason. Story too dangerous to read. That's a video. Book summary, more results. Summary. On Reddit. Is it true the King in Yellow drives people insane? This from Reddit. We'll make this our last touchstone. The question posted by Ander3Memes69. Is it true that the King in Yellow drives people insane? Or is it just a lot of people's first exposure to cosmic horror? Question. I hope this doesn't sound gatekeepy, but I was aware of the whole King in Yellow drives people insane thing before I even started reading Lovecraft. And when I discovered its relation, it kind of changed my perspective on the myth. We have a link from Elder. A curious case of cosmic horror and turn-of-the-century angst. The unifying thread in the best stories is a mysterious fictional play, which is said to drive anyone who reads it into a state of gibbering madness. Of course, Chambers teases us with snippets of this forbidden text, never letting us see the full thing, much like an infuriating restaurant that insists on telling you about their legendary dessert without ever actually serving it. We are left to piece together its horror from the shattered minds of those unfortunate enough to have perused its pages, which is both tantalizing and deeply unfair. Ether Warrior was talking about The Catcher in the Rye. Interesting book. It's another forbidden book. It's a good book, though. There's also a good book and movie about the author, which is called, I don't remember, My Something Year, and it's named after the author. Ether Warrior, author, please. My Something Year. I both read the book and saw the movie. Both are excellent. Come on, who wrote Catcher in the Rye? Salinger. My Salinger Year. The idea of a book so dangerous it unravels reality is deliciously unsettling. Thank you, Ed Parnell. J.D. Salinger. Thank you, Ed. The idea of a book so dangerous it unravels reality is deliciously unsettling. But I can't help but think that Lovecraft took one look at this concept and muttered, yes, I'll be having that. The creeping dread, the whispered insanity, and the sense of something vast and incomprehensible, looking just beyond human understanding, all feel like the grandparent of the Cthulhu mythos. But where Lovecraft would later commit fully to the horror of the unknown, Chambers pulls a narrative sleight of hand that still bewilders me to this day. The opening stories of the collection are as rich and evocative as an absinthe-fueled nightmare in Montmartre. The Repairer of Reputations is a personal favorite, one of the earliest examples of unreliable narrator in horror fiction. Starring a megalomaniacal lunatic convinced he's destined to rule America with the help of an ominous suicide chamber. It's the kind of story that makes you wonder if you accidentally inhaled laudanum fumes while reading it. It is insane, paranoid, and utterly glorious. What follows is The Mask, an eerie little tale about alchemy, doomed love, and the ability to turn people into statues, which sounds a lot like what Medusa was up to, but with more ennui. Then there's In the Court of the Dragon, featuring one of the most sinister organists in literature, because if anyone is going to be an agent of cosmic doom, it's a church musician. The Yellow Sign, arguably the most famous of the bunch, introduces us to a grotesque, unsettling watchman who seems to be a harbinger of doom, creeping into an artist's dreams with the persistence of an unpaid tax bill. These first 4 stories are chef's kiss level of excellent, soaked in decay, despair, and an omnipresent sense of dread. They make you feel as if you glimpsed something truly awful just out of the corner of your eye, only to turn and find it has vanished. If the book had continued in this vein, we'd be talking about it in the same breath as The Call of Cthulhu. But alas, at this point it all goes a bit French. French with romance. All right, at 21 minutes past the hour, it's time for a suggestion from... I have Verpine here in place number 1, so we're going with Verpine. Hey, wait, we have 2 hotspots as well. I think that's one of Verpine's is a hotspot. Let's find out. Hot link, that is. Verpine's suggestion. Not pasting. Let's do it manually. Okay, we'll pick up the hot links later. Oh, Dragon has been on all this time. No wonder my computer is going crazy. Vottovaara, Death Mountain of Finland. Ooh, Mermuse.com looks like it has an interesting story in its Archive of the Ancients. Pull it up here. Yes, written by Mermuse and entitled Death Mountain of Finland, Myth, Mystery, and the Spirit of the Land. Among the remote highlands and eerie northern skies, Finland and the borderlands of Karelia harbor legends of Death Mountain, a name whispered in folk stories and echoed in paranormal lore. Though not an official designation, several peaks, particularly Mount Vottovaara, and thank God this word wasn't up with the other one, the mountain called Kupelinavuri. Kupelinavuri have earned this haunted nickname through twisted trees, strange magnetic fields, and spectral tales. These mountains become more than mere geology. They become the threshold between worlds. Rising over 417 meters in the remote wilderness of Russian Karelia, near the Finnish border, Mount Vottovaara has become infamous for its bizarre rock formations, deformed trees, and magnetic anomalies. It's often described as one of the most mysterious places in the Nordic region. Local Sami traditions consider it a sacred place, and esoteric seekers flock to the mountain in search of its energy vortexes and hidden dimensions. Legends claimed that Schmatzi expeditions during World War II attempted to uncover and harness the mountain's supposed power. Visitors report electronics malfunctioning, compasses spinning wildly, and a deep, unsettling stillness in the air. Some even suggest it was a site of ancient sacrificial rituals. Its tortured birches acting as natural memorials to forgotten rites. One of the most curious features of Vottovaara is the vast spread of over 16,000 stone formations, ranging from balanced rocks and dolmen-like structures to massive boulders seemingly placed with intention. This I must see. Vottovaara Stone Formation. Let's check out that, too. Oh, we want that in images, I believe. That's here, I think, yeah. Oh, man. Really? You gotta be kidding me. Not very good resolution, though. There's better resolution, but not as good a picture, maybe. Big rocks on top of little ones, more than one. Those are two different rocks. Is that better resolution? And one on top. Not really. Check out the interesting looking one here. Open image. How? How? That is just insane. You can see the lichen. Good picture. Was it this being a different one or the same one? At least three of them looks like. Unless, no, it's not that one. This is a different one. There's at least three different ones. That is crazy. And for size, yeah, those are big. That is like insane. What the heck? One more, please. There's that other one. Yeah, definitely natural. If there were people putting rocks on, big rocks on little rocks, I don't think they would have done it like that. Put one, like, nudged one here. I don't think so, but... And the one on top? Wow. I don't think that was put there by human beings either. This thing's probably enormous. Probably some kind of natural occurrence. Crazy, though. While scientists claim these could be the result of glacial movement, that's the only thing that could have been the result of glacial movement and frost heaving. I don't know about the heaving. Many believe the layout is far too deliberate. These stones are said to resemble giant cairns or celestial maps, sparking theories that a race of ancient giants, or a now lost megalithic culture, erected them in prehistory. In Sami and northern Finno-Ugric oral traditions, giants were thought to roam the high places of the north before being turned to stone, or fleeing underground when the world changed. Some locals say the stones of Vottovaara are their scattered monuments, left behind after battles with the gods, or as sacred markers in a landscape long forgotten by humankind. Others speak of the rocks as watchers, sentient remnants of primordial beings who once governed the rhythms of nature. Adding to the enigma are the twisted and stunted trees that blanket the mountain in unnatural shapes, bent, scorched, and curling as if recoiling from invisible forces. These arboreal anomalies are clustered in areas where many visitors report compass errors, disorientation, or unexplained fatigue. Some believe the trees grow this way due to lingering magnetic or energetic disruption in the earth. Energetic disruptions in the earth, while others see them as spiritual barometers, responding to ancient trauma or the presence of unseen forces. The strange magnetic fields detected in these zones are said to interfere also with electronics, disrupting drone flight and GPS, reinforcing the theory that Vottovaara sits upon a hidden geophysical rift or ley line convergence. Let's see those trees. Vottovaara trees. It's common search. Oh, yeah. You gotta be kidding me. Look at this guy. Oh, my goodness. This is just this is just weird, man. Very good resolution. Look at this selection. Normal trees in the distance. Apparently all normal. And yet these two. Check out the trees in the distance. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, everything else looks good. Everything else looks straight as an arrow. That's something. Another good res. And normal trees in the background again, and to the right of it. Whoops, wrong scroller. Oh, look at this guy. Not exactly good res, but yeah, they seem to be isolated. Isn't that interesting? And none of them seem to be alive either. That's odd as well, right? Holy cow. In Finnish folklore, the Ghost Mountain is the ethereal resting place of young women who died before marriage. It is also said to be the gathering place of witches during Easter. Echoing tales from Sweden's Blackula, with over 30 hills and peaks bearing this name across Finland. Each site becomes a mirror to the cultural memory of untimely death, spiritual unrest, and feminine mystery. Children are still warned to behave during Easter, lest the witches descend on broomsticks to claim misbehaving souls. The Ghost Mountain becomes a symbolic veil, a place where the living glimpse the dance of the dead. Vottovaara's anomalies have drawn mystics, dowsers, and scientists. Twisted trees and erratic boulders create a surreal environment. Some theorists believe the terrain emits low-frequency electromagnetic radiation that interferes with perception. Others point to those ancient energy ley lines running through the area. While science attributes... Tina's got a sick cat. I'm going to say a prayer for your cat, Tina. TO2 says, here's hoping Kitty is okay. For the Semi people, these landscapes were more than physical. They were spiritual. Mountains like Vottovaara were once thought to be sacred places, used in rites of passage and healing and contact with the spirit world. I'm all upset about Tina's cat now. Dear Lord, please help Tina's cat. In Jesus' name, amen. Joseph Winnie is here. Joseph says the pictures I've seen of full-size trees stuck in upside-down positions. Art Stanton has had 2 sick little cats that he recently took in after they were abandoned. God bless you, Arch. Mike says, better get Kitty. I don't know. She might be start walking across the keyboard again. All right, and at 36 minutes past the hour. And what, sadly, could be our last topic. Maybe not, though. Forgot who it was from, but thank you. Someone gave me a hot link to /.org. /.org, rather. 2 dots in there somewhere. Welcome to Makni. And thank you, Makni. Here at Forever Spin is an anonymous reader quote from Motherboard. AI image generators like DALL-E and Midjourney have become an especially buzzy topic lately. And it's easy to see why. Using machine learning models trained on billions of images, the systems tap into the allure of the black box, creating works that both feel alien and strangely familiar. There's also a new one out I heard of a week or 2 ago that's virtually indistinguishable from real life. You cannot tell the difference. I haven't seen an example yet, but from what I heard, it's also available in a video form, which is really scary. Okay, we had here, the latest example comes from an AI artist named Supercomposite, who posted disturbing and grotesque generated image of a woman who seems to appear in response to certain queries. Oh yeah? Dare I click on this hot link? I'll give it a shot. What the heck? Oh yeah, that's pretty bad. This one worse than this one. This looks like AI. This one is pretty bad. And we can't go back. We'll just go here. The woman, whom the artist calls Loab, was first discovered as a result of a technique called negative prompt weights, in which a user tries to get the AI system to generate the opposite of whatever they typed into the prompt. To put it simply, different terms can be weighted in the dataset to determine how likely they will be to appear. Negative weight, by assigning a negative weight, you tell the AI, generate what you think is the opposite of this prompt. No kidding. In this case, using a negative weight prompt on the word Brando, generated the image of a logo featuring a city skyline and the words Digita Pintix. When Supercomposite used the negative weights technique on the words in the logo, Loab appeared. That gave me a chill. Since Loab was discovered using negative prompt weights, her gestalt is made from a collection of traits that are equally far away from something. Supercomposite wrote in a thread on Twitter, "Her combined traits are still a cohesive concept for the AI, and almost all descendant images contained a recognizable LOAB. The images quickly went viral on social media, leading to all kinds of speculation on what could be causing this phenomenon. Most disturbingly, Supercomposite claims that generated images derived from the original image of LOAB almost universally veer into the realm of horror, graphic violence, and gore. But no matter how many variations were made, the images all seem to feature the same terrifying woman." Quote, this is a quote from Supercomposite. "Through some kind of emergent statistical accident, something about this woman is adjacent to extremely gory and macabre imagery in the distribution of the AI's world knowledge." End quote. It's unclear which AI tools were used to generate the images, and Supercomposite declined to give his prompts, of course, or her prompts, when reached via Twitter DM. Quote, again from Supercomposite, "I can't confirm or deny which model it is for various reasons, but I can confirm LOAB exists in multiple image generation AI models." Ms. LOAB, and at 41 past the hour, our next hot link from Time.com. Why Aliens Landed in Russia 25 Years Ago by Lily Rothman. And Lily begins. Extraterrestrial contact has already been made, at least if you believe a report that ran 25 years ago. On Thursday, October the 9th, 1989, in the Soviet press agency TASS. According to the official report, tall, three-eyed aliens with small heads showed up in the city of Voronezh, arriving in a shiny ball, or alternatively, an object shaped like a banana, and bringing with them their robot. This, by the way, people, is another... I hope your cat gets better, Tina. I said a prayer. This is another story about children witnessing a UFO, because this UFO landed near a playground in Voronezh. So it goes right along with the topic of the show. Thank you. Viewer whom I can no longer remember submitted this URL. Quote, "Scientists have confirmed that an unidentified flying object recently landed in a park in the Russian city of Voronezh." An Associated Press translation of the report read. They have also identified the landing site and found traces of aliens who made a short promenade about the park. End quote. They left behind them 2 pieces of identified rock made of a substance that cannot be found on Earth. When pressed, TASS stood by the report. In fact, the agency could add more details a few days later, reported by the New York Times. For example, the aliens were wearing silver overalls and bronze-colored boots. And as Time reported in its 1989 issue, that wasn't all. Earlier in the year, the newspaper Socialist Industry reported an encounter between a milkmaid in the region of Perm and a cosmic creature that looked like a man, but was taller than average, with shorter legs. Last week, the Soviet newspaper Komsomolskaya Pravda declared that not only had an abominable snowman been caught stealing apples in the Saratov region, but researchers had registered the influence of energies at a site in Perm, leading a geologist to conclude they had discovered a landing field for flying saucers. The same story transcribed a telepathic discourse between Paul Lekortov, a journalist from Riga, and an all-too-knowing E.T. "From where are you from?" asked McCurtoff. "The red star of the constellation of Libra is our home. Could you shift me to your planet? That will mean no return for you and danger for us." "What danger?" "Thought bacteria." To the chagrin of Soviet scientists, the thought bacteria are everywhere. But as writer Howard G. Chuon explained, there was actually a pretty good reason for TASS and other Soviet news outlets to go nuts for crazy news like this. For one thing, the policy of glasnost, openness in media, was still relatively new. More importantly, at a time when hope for the Soviet Union was waning, stories of aliens provided something less depressing to think about. A little bit debunky there. I'm going to skim here. Though many educated Soviets objected strongly to the anti-scientific trend in the state media. Blah, 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 more debunky. And that ends about right there. So that is the Voronezh. All right, we got that one. Who done it, says Synchro. Right? All right. Let us go at this time, too. We're going to have to find... We're going to have to find one from Kayla Rain here. Kayla Rain wants to know. Try again, manually. Okay. Oh yeah, scientists. Finding a reason to believe. Evidence of another reality overlapping ours. Yeah, evidently they proved it too, from what I heard. And scientists do not put things in the press that lightly. Let's find out. Here we go at MSN. And this is at, let's say, 48 past the hour. At MSN.com, and a story by Jade Small. NASA scientists detect parallel universe next to ours, where time runs backwards. That detail I missed. And Mr. Small begins, or Ms. They begin. In the icy expanse of the Antarctic, a groundbreaking experiment has uncovered astonishing evidence of a parallel universe, one that operates on completely opposite rules of physics. The discovery could redefine our understanding of reality. The idea of parallel universes has captivated imaginations for decades. But while the concept has been discussed since physicist Erwin Schrödinger introduced it in 1952, tangible evidence has remained elusive until now. The experiment, called ANITA, Antarctic Impulsive Transient Antenna, was designed to detect high-energy cosmic particles, suspended by a giant balloon above Antarctica's ice. The antenna scanned the cold, radio noise-free environment for unusual signals. It went beyond its mission, revealing something else. And what was that? Where's the rest? Continue reading. High-energy cosmic particles typically travel downward from space, as Earth's solid core blocks their upward trajectory. However, ANITA detected particles rising from the ground, an anomaly suggesting they were traveling backward in time. This baffling phenomena defied conventional physics. What's never been explained so well to me. Local researcher Peter Gorham of the University of Hawaii theorized that these particles, called tau neutrinos, might have transformed into other types of particles to bypass Earth's dense matter. Such an occurrence is statistically improbable, yet Anita observed this anomaly multiple times. The universe born in reverse. The most straightforward explanation, according to Gorham, is that the Big Bang created not just our universe, but also a twin where time flows in reverse. Inhabitants of this anti-universe, if they exist, might perceive our world as the one running backward. Of course they would, if they had instruments. And anyone in the universe, or any intelligent race in the universe, ought to be able to detect that. They oughta. The debate over the multiverse. Pat Scott from the University of Queensland highlights that although the concept of a parallel universe is plausible, it still remains one of several possibilities. As research continues, the scientific community is exploring all angles to better understand this discovery. While Anita's findings are not yet conclusive proof of a parallel universe, they have opened the door to exciting new possibilities. The multiverse, in other words. The meaning that I think it's most commonly described as when you come to when any event has more than one outcome, that outcome will be represented across the multiverse in all its variety. I came with that up at the top of my head. Eldergrown reminds us Star Trek did this, of course. Probably not the original series, right? Love Star Trek personally. Joseph Winnie says, I haven't seen the stars of the moon in the last week. Sounds like bad weather, my friend. Oh no, this content has in part been generated with AI. Oh no. I read an AI article. I feel ashamed. It was TOS. It was the original series of Star Trek. Oh yeah, Mirror Mirror, right? But their time ran in conjunction with, right? At the same time as, and in the same direction, right? Yeah, when Spock had a beard. That was a good episode. All right. There's the Tina alarm. That means it's time for me to go home, but you don't have to go home. You can stay here on YouTube. In 6.5 minutes, you can watch live Peter McCarthy at Dark Sayings, and I recommend the channel most heartily. So until next week, may God bless and protect us all. And Tina's cat.